The Interspecies Academy had rules for everything: class size, lighting, atmospheric mix, emergency exits, even the order in which students were allowed to speak. The companion integration course was no different. It existed to build trust across species lines, to teach empathy through shared care. That was the theory. Instructor Vale reviewed the schedule one last time. Each student had been assigned a short presentation. Introduce your companion animal, explain why you chose it, demonstrate basic control. The first group had gone smoothly. A soft-shelled grazer from Lumea that hummed when touched, a feathered glider that nested in its owner's sleeve, a small mammal that curled into a ball when startled. Threat indicators stayed low. Students relaxed. Notes were taken. Veleth allowed himself a small measure of satisfaction. Then the human stood. His name was Mark Jensen, tall, broad-shouldered, calm in a way that did not seek attention. He wore the standard academy uniform without modification, no visible tools, no badge of rank. Veleth glanced at the roster. Human species, companion classification pending. Proceed, Veleth said. The doors at the rear of the chamber opened. Something large moved. The first sound was not a roar, it was weight. Heavy footfalls against reinforced flooring. Slow, measured, confident. Threat indicators spiked instantly. Red glyphs bloomed across the displays. Mass, muscle density, bite force projection, scar tissue analysis. Students recoiled. Several hissed. One let out a sharp alarm call. Security units activated without being ordered. The creature stepped fully into the room. It was massive. Low-slung shoulders knotted with muscle. Thick fur broken by old scars that crossed its flank and neck. One ear was torn. One eye held a pale mark at the edge, healed long ago. Its head was broad, its jaws closed, teeth visible even at rest. An apex predator. No sedation harness, no containment field. Just a leash in Mark's hand. The room erupted. Clear the chamber. Threat level unacceptable. Instructor override. Security drones descended. Barriers began to rise. Mark raised one hand. It is trained, he said. One sentence, not loud, not urgent. Veleth hesitated. The creature stopped. Mid-step, muscles locked, tail still, eyes forward. Perfect stillness. Threat indicators wavered. Security froze. Mark did not look at the creature. He did not pull the leash. He simply stood. The predator sat slowly, carefully, like it had all the time in the world. A shockwave of silence moved through the room. Veleth stared. "That is not possible," a student whispered. The creature was still close enough to smell. Heat radiated from its body. Its breathing was deep and steady. Its gaze never left the far wall. It did not track movement. It did not challenge. It waited. "Stand down," Veleth said, slowly. Security did not disengage fully, but weapons lowered a fraction. Mark walked forward. The predator rose and followed step for step. No tension on the leash, no verbal command. He stopped beside the presentation area. The predator lay down at his side, head on paws, eyes half open, threat indicators dropped, not to zero, but controlled. Veleth cleared his throat. "Mark Jensen," he said. "Explain." Mark nodded. "This is Rook," he said. A few students flinched at the sound of the name. "He is from Earth," Mark continued. "He is an apex predator. No denial, no softening language. He has killed before," Mark added. Several students recoiled again. "And he has chosen not to kill me," Mark said. The predator did not move. "That is why I trust him." Veleth felt something tighten in his chest. "Companion animals are meant to be comforting," he said. Mark shrugged. "Comfort comes later," he said. "Trust comes first." A student raised a trembling appendage. "Why bring something like that here?" they asked. Mark looked at them. "Because this is what humans grow up around," he said. "Things that can end us if we make mistakes." He rested his hand briefly on the predator's shoulder. No reaction, no flinch. "You do not control animals like this with fear," Mark said. "You control yourself." Veleth studied the predator again. The scars, the relaxed posture, the lack of interest in the room. "How is it responding to your commands?" Velith asked. "Our sensors detect none." Mark shook his head. "No commands," he said. "Just cues." "What kind of cues?" Velith pressed. Mark tapped his foot once. The predator lifted its head. Mark relaxed his shoulders. The predator lowered it again. Velith felt a chill. "These are not trained responses," he said. "No," Mark agreed. "They are shared habits." The class watched in stunned silence. The predator remained perfectly still at the human side, waiting, not because it had to, because it chose to.
Mark thought for a moment. "Because nothing here is acting like prey," he said. A ripple of confusion passed through the class. "We are terrified," one student said. "Yes," Mark replied, "but you are not running, you are not screaming, you are not trying to assert dominance." The predator lifted one ear and rotated it slightly. It remained otherwise still. "That matters," Mark added. Velith took a slow breath. "You expect us to believe this creature understands social context?" he said. "I expect you to see it," Mark replied. Velith nodded once. "Demonstrate," he said. Mark looked down at the predator. He did not speak. He took one step away. The predator stayed. Mark took another step. Still nothing. Then Mark stopped and inhaled sharply. The predator rose instantly. Not aggressively, just ready. Mark exhaled slowly and lowered his shoulders. The predator sat again. The room was silent. No commands, no devices, no chemical cues, just timing. "That response time," Velith said quietly, "that is faster than our systems." Mark nodded. "Because it is not processing orders," he said. "It is reading me." A student spoke from the back. "What if someone else tried that?" they asked. Mark did not answer right away. The predator glanced toward the student. Its gaze lingered. Mark shifted his weight. The predator looked away. "That is what would happen," Mark said. "It would read them and decide." "Decide what?" Vale asked. "If they were safe to be around," Mark said. Velith felt a slow understanding form. "This is not obedience," he said. "No," Mark replied. "It is agreement." Security drones hovered lower now, less aggressive. Threat indicators continued to decline in small increments. The predator yawned. Rows of teeth showed. Several students gasped. Mark did not react. The predator closed its jaws and rested its head again. "That was not a threat display," Velith said. "No," Mark said. "It was bored." Vale almost smiled. "Why bring it here?" he asked again. "You could have chosen something smaller." Mark met his gaze. "This course is about social bonding," he said. "About trust across species. Humans bond with things that can hurt us." The predator shifted closer to Mark's leg and leaned its weight against him. Mark adjusted his stance slightly. "That is how we know it is real," he added. Velith looked at the class. "You are witnessing a different model," he said. "One not based on control." A student raised a claw. "Are you not afraid?" they asked Mark. Mark shook his head. "I was," he said, "a long time ago." The predator flicked its tail once. "Fear taught me the rules," Mark continued. "Trust came after." Velith watched the predator again. The scars, the stillness, the patience. "This animal is not a pet," he said. "No," Mark agreed. "It is a companion." The class period ended without incident. Students filed out slowly, giving the predator a wide arc. Some glanced back, some did not. The predator did not follow them with its eyes. It watched Mark. When the room was empty, Velith remained. "You have changed the purpose of this course," he said. Mark shrugged. "Just showed you what humans mean by companion," he said. Velith looked at the predator one last time. It lay calm, silent, trusting. And Velith understood that the danger had never been the creature. It had been the assumption that comfort was the goal. The Academy did not sleep that cycle. Reports spread faster than official notices. Sensor logs were copied. Threat graphs replayed. Footage of the predator sitting calmly beside Mark Jensen circulated through faculty channels marked restricted, and then ignored. By the next morning, the companion integration course had an audience. Instructor Velith stood at the front of the chamber as students filtered in under closer supervision. Additional faculty lined the observation wall. Security was present but less obvious, positioned behind layered panels instead of hovering in the open. Mark entered last. Rook followed. The predator moved with the same measured pace as before. No hesitation, no interest in the room beyond a brief scan. He lay down at the same spot without prompting. Velith watched closely. No one panicked this time. Fear was still there. It lived in rigid posture and careful distance, but it did not spike into chaos. "That," Velith said quietly to a colleague, "is already a change." The session resumed. Today's exercise was interaction at distance.
Students were meant to approach one another's companions slowly, observe behavior, then retreat. Veleth hesitated before addressing Mark. "Your companion will remain stationary," he said. "No direct interaction." Mark nodded. Rook did not move. The first student approached another creature, a small avian being that chirped softly. Everything proceeded as planned. Then a second student approached Mark. They stopped well short of the predator, limbs drawn in tight. "I am not approaching that," they said. "That is acceptable," Veleth replied. Mark said nothing. Rook lifted his head slightly and watched the student. Not with focus, with awareness. The student froze. Mark shifted his stance. Rook lowered his head again. "That was not a command," Veleth said slowly. "No," Mark replied. "It was reassurance." The student exhaled shakily and stepped back. The rest of the class went on. No one crossed the invisible boundary around Rook. No one tried to test him. That was fine. After the session, Veleth called Mark aside. "Your presence is affecting others," he said. Mark nodded. "They are learning," he said. "Learning what?" Vale asked. "That danger does not announce itself," Mark replied, "and safety is not the absence of teeth." Veleth considered that. Later that cycle, the Academy convened a formal review. Mark was asked to speak. Rook was not brought. That fact alone unsettled the panel. "You introduced an apex predator into an academic environment," one administrator said without full disclosure. "I disclosed exactly what he was," Mark replied. "You minimized the risk," another said. "No," Mark replied, "I described it accurately." Veleth observed from the side. "Your statement that it is trained," the administrator continued. "Define trained." Mark took a moment. "He knows where he belongs," he said. "He knows my expectations, and he knows I will not lie to him." "That is not training," the administrator said. Mark nodded. "It is not obedience," he said. "It is trust." The panel exchanged looks. "You are asking us to accept that this animal chooses not to harm you," another said. "That choice could change." "Yes," Mark said. "So could mine." Silence followed. Veleth realized then why the discussion felt unbalanced.
The humans model did not assume control was permanent. It assumed vigilance. "What happens if you are incapacitated?" the administrator asked. Mark answered without hesitation. "Rook leaves," he said. "Leaves," the administrator repeated. "Yes," Mark said. "He removes himself from the situation." Veleth felt a chill. "That is not a guarantee," someone said. "No," Mark agreed. "It is a boundary." The panel dismissed Mark with no decision. That night, something went wrong. A maintenance error triggered an alarm in the East Wing. Automated barriers dropped, emergency lights flared, students evacuated in confusion, security mobilized. In the companion integration wing, doors sealed late. Rook lifted his head. Mark was already moving. He did not shout, he did not pull the leash. He stepped into Rook's line of sight and held his hand low. Rook stood, not aggressive, alert. A panicked student rounded the corner and froze at the sight of the predator. Rook locked eyes with them. The student screamed. Mark stepped between them. "Stop," he said. One word, not loud. The student froze. Rook stopped. Mark exhaled slowly and took a step back. Rook sat. Security arrived seconds later, weapons up. Rook did not look at them. He looked at Mark. The alarms shut down shortly after. False trigger, no breach. The corridor was quiet. No one was hurt. Later, Veleth reviewed the footage. The data showed the same pattern. Rook reacted to chaos, then to Mark, then stood down. No threat indicators had crossed lethal thresholds. The predator had not been restrained. He had been guided. The next day, the Academy issued its decision. Companion integration protocols would be amended. Humans would not be required to conform their companions to Academy standards. The Academy would adapt instead. Veleth delivered the notice personally. "You have changed our definition of safety," he said. Mark nodded. "Safety is not softness," he said. "It is clarity." Veleth looked past him to where Rook lay in the sunlit courtyard, still, watchful, calm. "For your species," Veleth said, "companionship appears to be a pact." Mark smiled faintly. "Yeah," he said, "we choose things that could kill us." Veleth waited, "and we choose not to give them a reason." The final session was held in the open courtyard. No walls, no ceiling, just tiered seating, natural light, and a wide central space reinforced far below the surface. The Academy wanted visibility, transparency. They wanted to prove to themselves that the decision they had made could survive daylight. Students gathered early. Faculty lined the upper tiers. Security was present but unobtrusive, stationed at distance with systems set to passive. Mark Jensen entered through the side gate. Rook followed. The predator paused at the threshold, scanned the space once, then stepped forward. He moved to the center and lay down without prompting. His scars caught the light, his breathing settled, the threat indicators activated, then stabilized. Instructor Vale stepped forward. "This session concludes the companion integration course," he said. "Today is not a demonstration of control, it is a demonstration of outcome." He looked at Mark. "You may proceed." Mark nodded. He did not speak. He sat on the stone floor beside Rook and rested one hand on the ground, not touching, just present. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. Some students shifted, uncertain. Others leaned forward, watching for something dramatic. It never came. Rook remained still, alert but relaxed. His ears tracked distant sounds, his eyes half closed. "This," Veleth said quietly, "is the lesson." A student finally raised a tentative question. "If he is so dangerous," they asked, "why bring him here at all?" Mark answered without standing. "Because danger does not disappear when you ignore it," he said. "It just becomes unfamiliar." Another student asked, "Why trust something like that?" Mark looked at Rook. "Because he trusts me back," he said, "and because trust with teeth matters more than comfort without consequence." Rook shifted slightly and leaned his shoulder against Mark. The movement was heavy but careful. Mark adjusted his posture without breaking calm. The students murmured. Vale watched their faces. Fear had changed shape. It was no longer panic, it was respect. "Humans," Vale said, "do not appear to select companions for emotional ease." "No," Mark agreed, "we select them for honesty." A faculty member spoke from the upper tier. "If the bond fails," she said, "the consequences would be severe." "Yes," Mark said, "that is why we maintain it every day." Rook lifted his head and looked toward the speaker, then back to Mark. He settled again. Veleth felt the weight of it settle at last. This was not recklessness, it was responsibility carried quietly. The session ended without applause. Students filed out slowly, some stopping at a respectful distance to observe Rook one last time. None approached, none challenged. They had learned where the line was without being told. When the courtyard cleared, Veleth remained. "You will leave soon," he said. "Yes," Mark replied. "And the Academy will remember this," Vale said. "I hope so," Mark said. Veleth hesitated. "Do you worry," he asked, "that others will misunderstand your example?" Mark considered. "People always do," he said. "That is why Rook exists." Veleth nodded. They watched as Rook stood and stretched, muscles rolling under scarred fur. He yawned once, then looked to Mark and waited. Mark rose. They left together. Weeks later, Academy policy reflected the change. Companion programs expanded their definitions. Trust was no longer measured by obedience metrics alone. Behavioral alignment replaced command compliance. Human submissions were evaluated by different criteria, not because humans demanded it, because the results were undeniable. In the final archive entry, Instructor Vale recorded a single observation. Humans do not bring companions to feel safe. They bring companions they have already proven safe by surviving together. On the day Mark departed the Academy, a few students watched from the balcony. Rook walked at his side, leash slack, posture calm. No one panicked, no alarm sounded. The predator did not look back. He did not need to. He had chosen his place, and the Academy had learned something fundamental. Humans do not tame apex predators. They stand beside them. And that choice, more than any sensor or barrier, is what keeps everyone